Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back, I'm not going anywhere. Beast. Beast. I'm YouTube famous now. Okay, so this video is gonna be a little bit more of a discussion video. I don't know, more of a, that is so funny because my very first drama video I ever did, that's exactly how I started it. I said, this is gonna be a little bit of a, I don't know, a discussion video. But it's gonna be more of like me just talking about my feelings related to all of this and kind of explaining some past videos that I've done where I have talked about Tana Mongeau and Elijah being problematic and being messy and why I think they are not necessarily great role models. And it's kind of interesting what has happened over time. Like every time Tana does something, which is all the time, I receive countless DMs like, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see this? Did you see her Halloween costume? Did you see this? And on and on and on. And it's to the point like where I can't just make like a video for every topic. Don't get me wrong. I would love to, and I will probably continue to. But it's like there's, you know, when it's, you know when you get fired for something and you think you got fired because you showed up late one time, but then you go into your supervisor's office and they're like, okay, so we are gonna have to let you go and here are the reasons. You've been late 42 times in the last 6 months. You don't dress appropriately to work. You missed this meeting, blah, 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 on and on and on. And you're like, oh, I get it. I was paper trailed. I'm messy as fuck, basically, right? And basically what they're saying is we want you out. And, you know, so it's interesting that all of these people, and they always say, I used to love Tana. I used to be a huge supporter of Tana, but it's just like gone overboard at this point, right? And so it's people that used to love her and be invested in her. I was rooting for you, Tana! But anyway, it's people that were like rooting for Tana and they no longer are doing it, right? And it's because that they're saturated with her life and her messiness. And it was interesting because I got this message last night and I even asked the person, I'm not gonna actually talk about this specific topic, but I said to her, can I use your message that you sent me and I can just read it in the video? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. And then I went and I watched Tana's video about her sexy Halloween costumes because I was gonna do a video called Tana Mongeau Stole Content. If you go watch her video, it's interesting. I mean, it's a total bore-ass to me, to be really honest with you, because there are so many inside jokes at this point that you have to be a super fan of Tana's to understand what's going on. And the only reason that I understood what was going on in the video was because I've made so many commentary videos on her. So, you know, like, she makes some jokes about Taylor Kniff and, you know, she talks in there about James Charles, and she kind of shades him indirectly, but it's real funny and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm watching this video and I'm like, she puts no value into her content whatsoever anymore. I mean, she used to sit down in well-lit areas and do all this kind of stuff. So like people at this point are just following her for the shit show. They don't care. They're following her for this, you know, out-of-control rock star that Tana Mongeau has become, right? And that's problematic. And I'm gonna explain to you why in just a second. From Tana's point of view, it's probably incredible that she's getting this mass following on Twitter. She says it in her video. Go buy her new phone case before she never reorders it again, restocks it again. Why you would, that marketing gig when people do that, like buy this fan, I'm gonna sell it right now for the last time. I mean, if it's such a hot sell, why aren't you selling it forever and ever and ever? Amen. So anyway, so I don't buy into that whole, this is my favorite and it's going to be, after this, I'm discontinuing it. Why would you discontinue it? That's stupid business. So anyway, so she goes in there and she does this whole thing and this, she redoes her intro. She's redone her intro. I mean, like now that I watch enough of her videos, I'm like, okay, so this is part of your gig. You always talk about redoing your intros because they're not cute and whatever. I don't even know if I believe it. Who care at this point, right? So she goes in and she does these sexy Halloween costumes that nobody's ever seen before. Go back to my magazine video from last week where I did, and I read it in there. So In Touch magazine just did a spread where they did 6 like Halloween costumes, slutty Halloween costumes, which I don't love that word anyway. I think it's shameful. But anyway, and especially coming from a woman, I'm just gonna say, okay? Like, I don't like that word ever. Like, from a man should never use that word. But from a woman to another woman, I don't like it, okay? And it's very much like, this is what kills me about the whole thing, okay? Is that at 18, going on 19 years old, Tana has such a huge following of young women. What she could be doing with that and empowering young women, it baffles my mind. Sit back for a moment instead of with your friend. Her friend Maya just put out this video, which is like this question answer thing with Amari and all this kind of. I mean, Amari's in the picture now. He'll be gone in a week. He's there now. He'll be gone in a week and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, sit back for a second and really realize what has been given to you, okay? You have 2 million plus subscribers on YouTube. You have a vlog channel. You have an incredible Twitter account, Instagram. I mean, she could do so much good with this and still be very, very funny. You know, like, there are moments of Tana, do not kill me when I say this, okay? There are moments of Tana that she reminds me of the early days of Jenna Marbles. Now, she's no Jenna Marbles. Let's just be for real, okay? She's just not. Because Jenna Marbles has never been a shit show like this. But there are moments that she is that way. And what makes me very, very sad about all this, okay? And before we get into this, people are going to say, well, if, you know, because we're going to talk about the drug use. That's what this is about for me, okay? People are going to say, well, if you hadn't been sober since you were 22 years old, you wouldn't have the same opinion. But I have been, and I can't look at it any other way. And people will say, well, if you hadn't worked with young people that had drug and alcohol problems for 20 years, you wouldn't look at this the same way. But I have, and I can't look at it any different. And people will say to me, but if you hadn't had friends of yours and family members that had died directly from addiction, you wouldn't look at this the same way. But I have, and I can't look at it any other way than to say this is problematic. And here's the problem, okay? Is that I don't believe any of you out there have not been affected by addiction in some way, okay? By a coworker that comes in late repeatedly to work, by a family member that just can't get their shit together, that you're constantly worried about. The number one email that I get mostly from people, okay, is thank you for talking about addiction. Thank you for talking about recovery. Thank you for talking about all these kids just rampantly using drugs and alcohol in these videos and how it's problematic, because I had friends like that. I can't get sober. I'm 20 days sober off of heroin. I'm 40 days sober off of heroin. Congratulations to all of you out there that have gotten sober, because it just is absolutely amazing, right? But this behavior continues to role model for the younger generation of many, many, many addicts that we're gonna have to come. And it's very sad to me, okay? On the heels of waking up this morning and getting numerous text messages about a young lady that I have known for quite some time that passed away last night from an overdose of opiates, leaving behind in her wake 2 very, very young children that will never know a mother, okay? Lots of friends that will never see what she could have grown up to become, and lots of family that loved her, and many, many people that were never willing to stand up and say enough is enough. And that's the problem. So I'm here today to say enough is enough, okay? All these people that want to do collabs with her and manage her and be around her and all this kind of stuff, you do not see the problem that is right in front of you, and you are co-signing that bullshit, and I think it's horrible, okay? It is problematic when we are willing to buy into that, okay? It's the people that were, you know, constantly around Whitney Houston that never said anything. It's the people that were, you know, constantly around Amy Winehouse that never said anything. It's the people that were around Janis Joplin, you know, Jimi Hendrix, all these people that just love the creative talent, the partying, and all of them that went along with it, and never once said, I love you, you are creative, genius beyond belief. You have a way of amassing people's love for you, and yet you're throwing it down the drain by what you're doing to yourself and putting out there into the world. One of the things that is very interesting to me, though, is of all those people that I just listed that I love, okay? The Amy Winehouses and the Whitney Houstons and all of these people that have passed away, right? Directly resulting from addiction. When we look at them, they did not throw out their addiction in front of everybody's faces to see on a regular basis. They didn't throw out their rampant drug use for everybody to see. Had they may have been seen a little bit more problematic than they already were, if that makes sense. People were concerned about them, but not at the expense of ruining their gig with them. So I just want to say, I went in here today and I got this message about Tana, okay? And then I saw, because I will say this for the whole thing. Tana on her own doing a story time, I don't mind. Elijah Daniel back in the day with Christine when they were doing dildos in the apartment, all that kind of stuff, I think is hilarious. I think he is a creative genius. I think all of them together they scare me. I don't understand what's happened at this point, and it's like the creative genius and the partying have taken them all to a next level, and I am telling you, this is not gonna last forever. Somebody is gonna get very, very hurt by this, and it's extremely scary what is going on. So I just wanna tell you, and like people will say, he's joking. Well, it's not funny to joke about if he is, and if he's serious, then it's problematic, okay? So here he is, Elijah, 596,000 Twitter followers. So everything he tweets out, almost 500,000 people see. So let's see, 16 hours ago, he tweeted, Jordan only responds to my texts if they're about Tana being arrested for drugs anymore. Okay? Which obviously we know that's a joke. I mean, I'm not stupid. But when you go underneath here, it's just a shit show of responses, right? People thinking it's so funny. Oh, is Tana in federal prison yet? Oh, so only a few times a week, blah, 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 whatever, right? Because what we have done is we have made the language of normal, everyday drug and alcohol use typical. It's the language they speak, okay? So then you go up in here and he says, I watched a guy walk into a closed glass sliding door last night and then just raises his hands and yells, okay, I'm on shrooms. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff that we laugh at. This is the kind of stuff that we find funny. This is, when we talk about going to music festivals and being so drunk and on drugs that we don't remember stuff, and oh, remember that one time that I did this and I did that. You guys, listen, okay? And I know there are a lot of people out there that love Tyja. Well, there's her name. You just got it. Tana and Elijah, Tyja. Because Christine, where is she? Okay, she's always just kind of in the back of the picture. And I have to believe, and I know that they supposedly just got a reality show and all this kind of stuff, or some kind of TV show. But, it's interesting to me because I found all of these people through Christine Seidelko. And, Christine Seidelko is always like this with her marijuana pen. Have you ever seen her in, snaps? I mean, it's always like this. And, she's the one that worries me the most because she is the true comedic creative genius behind all of this, okay? She is, when we go back and we look at people that have been so affected by drugs and alcohol, they are some of our funniest comedians, our finest actors, our most talented singers and musicians in the world, right? And I see Christine in all of that, and I don't know what she engages in because she doesn't show as much as everybody else. She doesn't tweet out as much as everybody else. And I have to wonder if she's not sitting back to some degree going, you know what, this is fun and shits and giggles and games and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not 18 anymore, okay? And I've got to think about the long run because she's kind of just hanging out with all these kids and you see her in the background and stuff like that. But it started the Christine Seidelko show, and it's not the Christine Seidelko show anymore, right? Christine, you done fucked up, okay? So you might want to reevaluate your gig here and think about where you really want to go with this career, because I'm telling you right now, listen, okay? I've known a lot of people that have put a lot of good time, money, and energy into people that addictively or obsessively use drugs and alcohol, and it never turns out well for them. And I'm just saying, I'm very, very concerned about this, okay? And nobody wants to talk about this. It's really, really interesting that nobody wants to talk about this, okay? That it's everywhere. It's like, Tana just continues to grow and grow and grow. She even said in her video that she said, thank you so much, where she in there was she said she was a slutty blunt. I mean, none of the costumes were really that funny unless you would be sitting in that room high as a kite. And that's the truth, okay? If you saw that video of Tana Mongeau, let's just be for 100% completely real. I watch that video with a completely open mind as I do all the videos that I watch, right? It kills me when there are people like this actress, Loretta Jenkins. Do you know who she is? She acts like she's drunk and she does the Dolly Parton and all that kind of stuff, but it's an act, right? Okay, that she doesn't get half of the attention that Tana is, but Tana's not joking. With Loretta Jenkins, you can tell she's joking because she's sitting there and she's like, okay, so it's comedic value, right? It's comedic genius. Just the same thing as Chelsea Lynn when she's doing the Snapchat filters. We all know it's a joke. But it's not a joke with Tana, okay? It's a group of friends partying, and they're doing this video of her in these costumes, right? And if you watched the video and you never knew who Tana Mongeau was, and it was her very first video that she ever posted, you would be like, this girl's not funny, okay? You might be, if you were 16 or 17, like, oh my God, this is me and my friends. But for how long? You know, like, no true talent has ever existed off of just being like everybody's friends. It's just the truth, okay? You know, no true talent has ever existed without scripting videos, scripting plays, scripting television shows, scripting jokes, okay? And it's gonna get to a point where it's all this ages out and she's not getting the same, I mean, we know that there are YouTubers out there that used to have 2, 5, and 10 million subscribers that are non-existent anymore. They are not posting content, okay? So if you take away all of the fame and all the money and all of the followers, what do you have? You have a young lady, okay, that is using obsessively drugs and alcohol on a regular basis, and her friends around her are condoning that. What happens when the friends are no longer there? What happens when the gig is gone, okay? We don't any of us know that YouTube's gonna be here for next week. Tana Mongeau is problematic, yes, to me, but I worry about her. And if Tana was in my life and Tana was my friend, I would say, Tana, I'm very, very concerned about you. Elijah, I'm very, very concerned about you. Elijah has a way of taking like shit and turning it into gold like that, seriously. He has his finger on the pulse of what is hot and trendy right now and knows how to turn all that around. And what they could do with, you know, it's interesting because you know, it's always like, don't burn out in a frenzy of creativity, like Amy Winehouse, like Janis Joplin, you know, like Whitney Houston, all these people. Don't allow it to burn you out. And what it's doing, and you don't even realize, is it's muting you. You used to be hilarious. You're now kind of funny. What's gonna happen a year down the road? It's just something to think about, okay? And I know people are gonna be like, why are you coming for them again? Why are you coming for them again? I'm not coming for them again, I'm concerned, okay? They're role models to our younger generation who see this behavior and they think it's funny and they think it's just like them and they think it's okay. I wanna be like Tana, therefore I'm gonna party like Tana, I'm gonna drink like her, talk about hangovers, whatever, okay? We all do that. We all emulate people that we love and we admire. It concerns me for them and for their people that all their followers. I love you guys and I'll talk to you later. Bye.